Welcome, welcome, welcome. Blessing, blessing, blessing to all, each and every one of you, even the ones in the daggone bushes. Blessings. But I just want to stop by and do a quick live right quick and talk about banking while black. Is there a such thing as banking while black? Hmm. You have to ask yourself. Now, are you being judged by your color because by the money? Are you being judged by the money because you had a color of your skin? That's crazy. That's real crazy. And as always, I have my sidekick who purple with me as well. Hey. In the building. But hey, as you see, I got something new going on. I got my shout out. I'll be shouting out my supporters, my business supporters that support me. Here they are right here listed above. If you need any one of these, please go ahead and write that down. They do inspire me as well as my sisterhood sisters do, as well as my supporters do. And it's as Perp always say, when she get to 300 subscribers, she will be doing what? Giving away a drawing. I'll be giving away 2 gifts for a man and one for a woman. Yeah, I will be doing that. Just basically showing a little love. But hey, I'm not gonna be long. I just want to come by and just do a quick live show. You know, make people aware of what's going on. This is supposed to be our month, Black History, but why are we still getting um, beat down? Why are we still getting beat down? And this is our month. This is our month. This is our Black History Month. We are supposed to be somewhat talking about what's going on instead of getting abused and being hurt. you know. But hey, let Purple go and get started with this video, and I hope you all enjoy it, and I hope you all get out of it what I got out of it when I started watching it.
About when the money was deposited on a morning. Excuse me.
Take your time.
And the machine told my wife something is wrong. And $400 bill and $20 bills, $600. So when it didn't give her, didn't acknowledge something wrong, she came back, and I said, "Well, no problem. You got a receipt. They show you on the ATM, and we can go in the morning. Simple problem." She went that morning, and that's when all of the runaround started. One of the questions that I had is how many people in that particular bank deposited $600 between 12 o'clock and 8 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. I bet you, and I bet even more, to say that no other deposit was $600 or and $220. Almost impossible, but they had the ATM video showed her as being the person that put the money in. They had the receipt. Why? Why did this occur? The only reason, logically, that I can think about is the color of her skin. She was almost 70 years old when this happened. I'm a Vietnam veteran. highly decorated. I believe in America. Mm-hmm. I believe in justice. But I care about it, especially my wife. I feel there has to be some kind of retribution or some kind of way to rid the situation. Yes, sir. Because otherwise, if it's not, then that.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard.
Yeah, hold on just 1 second. Let's get this real quick.
Then that says that the America that I fought for was a fraud. My Lord. I didn't almost give my life fighting for my fellow soldiers and for this country to have my wife tolerate something like this. I want all of who would you have wanted something like this to happen to your mother when it shouldn't have? It could have died in less than 5 minutes. Amen. Less than 5 minutes. And I want you all to think about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Colonel Rufus Stevens, the husband of Miss Linda Stevens, this black grandmother who was arrested. I called the police on her. What she believes and her family believes is another example of banking while black in America. And thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Stevens, for fighting for America, where your wife would not be discriminated. You, Melinda Stevens, to tell you her ordeal, her own. I tried to paraphrase it for you, but she lived, and this is gonna be painful for her to tell you, and she's gonna to speak as loud as she can so you all can hear her. But she's gonna touch you because she did nothing wrong, but asked for her money, and she had every right to do. We will not tolerate banking while black from any bank in America. Miss Linda Stevens.
This traumatic experience for me started on April 13th. And just to give you a little background of me, I'm a retired educator from Polk County Schools. I taught school, was a principal 12 years. I was over the health curriculum for Polk County Schools for middle and high school. I'm very active in my church. I'm the immediate past president of the Polk County Retired Educators. I'm a committed, and I care about people. I'm going to try to fill in the and Rufus left out. When I went to that ATM, Rufus and I went to the ATM together, as we normally do. I looked later at the ATM, and there were more than 8 cameras in the ATM machine. So I knew they had captured me on one or more of those videos. And when I left, and Rufus said, well, Linda, go back after they open at 7 o'clock. And I went back up there and I had to talk with the cashier. I told him the story. He asked me, did I have a receipt? And I said, yes. I showed him the receipt. You need my story. I showed him the receipt. And he said to me, he said, if you look behind you, you can see the truck of the man here working on the ATM machine because something had happened with the machine. He said, you need to fill out a dispute. I said, I'm disputing with myself that I put the money in the machine. He said, but you need to come back in. He said, that's the way it is. That's the policy. You need to come back and fill out a dispute form, go on the inside. So after 9 o'clock, I had to go back to Mid-Florida and went and signed in and spoke with this lady. I told her the story, copy of it. She said, you need to fill out a dispute form. And I told her, I'm not disputing that I put my money. She said, but that's the policy. So she filled out the form. And of course, I signed it. And she said to me, she said, give us 2 hours, not more than 3 hours, and everything will be in your account. So I left there, went home. I waited all day and checking my account online. There was nothing in my account that indicated they had placed that money, credited my money to my account. I waited till the next day. And about 10:30 that next day, I went back to the bank and I talked with the same teller, the first teller I had spoken with, and he said, I can't help you. And he gave me the supervisor again, and the supervisor came over and I asked him, I said, where is my money? I said, all I want is my money. Where is it? I said, you told me that the ATM man was working on the machine and you sent me in to fill out a dispute. Where? And he turned his back and walked off. By this time, the lady in the office, who I later was identified as the head teller, came and she said, ma'am, she said, I can help you in my office. And I went in the office with her and she asked me what was going on. And I shared that same story with her.
Again.
And the receipt. You know how bureaucracy is. I said, no, I don't. I said, I don't want anything Mid-Florida's got. I said, I only want my money. So she said to me, she said, I don't know what happened with yesterday, but she said, I'm going to go ahead and just call the guy again to verify that he found your money. She called the technician. The technician told her, yes, I found her money in the machine. I found the $401 bills and the 1020s in the machine. When she got off of the phone, she said to me, she said, you're still going to have to give us 2 or 3 days to get your money in your account. So when manager had come over to the office and she had another lady with her and there was a police officer who came and stood directly to my right in the back of me. And she said, you just need to go ahead and leave and we'll get your money straightened out. And I had to tell her the story as well. And so as we were sitting there and I said, I just want my money. I need to pay my bill. I want my money. That's all I want. I gave you cash money. I said, I didn't put checks in the machine. I put cash money in the machine. I just want my money. I said, that's all I want from Mid-Florida.
Yes.
So she said, if you don't calm down, we're going to have to call the popo. So
yeah, I know we're getting headed to commercial now. You know, I'm a perfect happening.
So we were sitting there talking, and I don't know what happened, but then in a few minutes later, Another police officer, I thought I heard her say, I have a gun and I'm going to shoot you. I said, what are you talking about? And the most painful part of that was that office manager, that head teller, that other lady that was in there, the police officer standing next to me, nobody said nothing. I was the only one to speak up for myself. And all I could think when he came in with his hand on his gun was that my life was in danger. My life threatened. But he was ready to take action because he thought. I said, sir, I don't have a gun. I said, I never owned a gun. I said, I never even shot a gun. What in the world are you talking about? Are you crazy? And he said to me, if you say the word gun one more time, I'm going to arrest you. And I turned around and looked up at him and I said, gun. He said, you stand up and I'm going to arrest you. And he snatched it. And it was as tight as he could because my wrist was swollen when I got the handcuffs off. And he walked me out to his car and set me in his hot car for some 15, 20 minutes. In a hot car, 11:30, 12 o'clock in the day, while he and the other officer checked me out. I heard the other officer tell him, and yet I sat there and I sat there and I sat there. Finally, the police officer comes to the car, drives me to the station, and when he gets to the car, I'm just traumatized by that time. I never had any dealings with a police officer. I've never been to court for anything outside of a speeding fine. And when we got there, he said, you got to get out of the company, not to shoot me, because it was just he and I. And he's sitting there with his hand on his gun and his little monkey stick. He said, the guy said, no.
His mother.
He opened the door and he took his hands
Somebody's
and pulled me
mother.
out of the car and dropped me on the concrete, scratching me all up and bruising me. And he pulled me halfway into the building when he a wheelchair in this room with my hands still cuffed behind my back. I was quite helpless. And took me into this little square room with my hands still cuffed behind my back. I sat in this room with my hands cuffed, and he came and he's asked me to talk to me. I would say anything. I wouldn't say anything. Fear take it the wrong way and take my, because nobody was he and I. So finally he came, and another police officer, because I had sat on the floor, I was trying to get some relief from my arms. My arms had been behind my back for a long, long time, for about an hour by now. And because I'm not as young as I used to be, my arms was really, really hurting. And so they put me in a wheelchair and laid aside to the car and sat me in a wheelchair right beside the door. And so they both took my shoulders and threw me into the car. And when they did, because my head hit real hard on the seat, and that's when my nose was fractured. And I lost my shoes, my shirt flew up, and he looked at me, but he didn't say anything. When we took the sheriff department, the lady came out, and she said, when she looked at me, she said, let me look at you and see how badly you're hurt. And so I've been checking out and pulling my shirt down, and she took me in, and they took me in a little room, and they took all of my clothes, my bra, my underpants, everything, and put me on some other clothes. And then I was transported to the jail. And when I got there, they were feeding the other inmates that were there. And they said, well, do you want to feed her? Because this is she. And of course, I didn't eat.
Unbelievable.
So they asked the other lady, said, well, what do you want us to do with her? Where do you want us to put her? And this big fat officer lady says, I don't want you to put her anywhere where I can't see her. She said, you need to call upstairs and get the supervisor down here. So it was two ladies came down, two supervisors. The first supervisor came over and looked at me, and she took her foot and kicked me just as hard as she could on the shin of my legs. Then the other supervisor came, and I have a heart condition. I sleep with a CPAP. I have high blood pressure. She took her fist of her hand and nuzzled me in my chest twice, just as hard as she could. Then she took her fingers and put it under the tender part of my arm and pinched me just as hard as she could. And I kind of glanced up at her, and she told them, she glanced up at me. They said, well, how do you want?
Okay. Guess we're going to
Hey,
continue.
Vanessa, tell me about the great savings I get at America's Best.
Yeah, we're 2 pairs of glasses.
Sorry, but we're going to get right on through this, though.
She said, I did. So they took arms and dragged me on the floor. And as they put me in the cell, they took my clothes at the same time. I was on this cold floor with nothing on. There was no pillow. There was no real blanket. There was about 3 little scripts like this in there. There was no chair. There was a little toilet like this and a little basin about this big. And there were things crawling on the floor. There were brown spots on the floor that looked like poop. There was white looking paint on the floor and a little tiny window up at the top. And I stayed there, and they came, and I didn't eat anything. I didn't go to the bathroom. I did it before I got out. But then I finally went to sleep, and I kept waking up and somebody would walk by and check on me. And the next morning they came, and the lady said, she said, who all wants to take a bath? And when she got to me, she said, well, we know you don't want to take a bath. And she walked on by myself. So this other lady came, and she says, well, we're seeing the psychiatrist. He's the one psychiatrist today. And I told her, I am. So she went to the next cell and got the lady out of the next cell. And finally, a lady 3 hours later, and she came to me and she said, Miss Stevens, she said, they're telling us that you're crazy or you're suicidal. She said, you're not. She said, you're not crazy, are you? I said, no. And I told her how to up there. So then about 2 or 3 hours later, a lady came and said, do you want to go to first appearance? Of course, I had to ask her what was first appearance. I said, I don't even know what first appearance is. And all of this happened to me because of that telephone call at Mid-Florida. And so she explained to me that I would be going to a judge. But when we came, she brought me these clothes to put on. And it was a black outfit, and the top had these flowers caked up on it, and I smelled the crap they put in those pants next to my vaginal area. I said, I'm just not going to do it. She said, but the only other thing I have is a 3X. And so she went and she got the 3X. I said, if it's clean, I'll put it on. I told her, she said, they were debating whether or not they were even going to charge you. So when I got to the judge, she said, you had bail of $550. She said, you needed to have them set. But I found out my husband was already trying to take care of that. So when I went and stood before the judge says to me, he said, Ms. Stevens, he said, we're not going to charge you bail. Your bail has been dropped. All you need to do is go home and call in and wait for your So then I go back to the jail, and he tells me stay 500 feet from the Mid-Florida, don't go out of state, don't get drunk or get high. So to the jail, they again tell me the clothes, and you still got to stay in the cell naked. And I have about 3 or 4 hours before miss, but I stood up, and there was check out the garbage or something. He's standing there gazing at my naked body.
God,
And you're talking about embarrassed and humiliated, traumatized. I was like, oh my goodness. And he just stood there. He just there. He was standing there with an eye full. And I stepped back out of view into the corner. And finally, they came and we didn't need my clothes to put on. And they said, we can't give you your pocketbook until you exit the building. And as I was getting ready to exit, they said, your husband's called and he's got the information. And they said, but before you walk out of that door, we need to take your mugshot, because they had not done any of that. And at that point, that was when they took my mugshot and put on the Xerox machine, all because I asked for my money. All of this happened to me.
Unbelievable.
And I left, and then my daughter picked me up, and my husband took me out. And before we could get back home, there was a call from Mid-Florida that he had missed. There was a call on our landline that had been missed, all from Mid-Florida Credit Union. And she said that her name was Valerie Dollison, and she wanted to come out and talk with me about what had happened, because they had looked at the video. And I asked her, I said, how do you know? She said, well, we looked at it. We saw everything that happened. I want to talk to you about the situation. So I said, I haven't been in 500 feet of Mid-Florida. Why do you want to talk to me? She said, well, we just want to come and talk with you. So when she came, she had this white orchid in her hand. And she said, this is for me. She said, this is not from Mid-Florida. And so she said to me, she said, I'm here on behalf of Mid-Florida Credit Union. And she kept emphasizing, I'm here on behalf of Mid-Florida Credit. She said, we were wrong. She said, if we had done what we told you we were going to do, you would back at Mid-Florida. I said, you are exactly right. She said, we're trying to understand how you felt and how you're feeling. And she said, the president wants to know how you feel. And I said, if you want to know how I feel, I said, think about the fact that if it was your mama, I said, think if it's my or something like that had come in just to ask for their money. I said, that's all I was asking for. She said, well, we're wrong.
I guess we go into no commercials. I pray that things do work out a little bit better from what's going on. Right, we get the point. We get the point. We get the point. Go ahead and finish it. What happened? Okay, well, anyway, y'all. I just went ahead and just stopped sharing because I was buffing so much. I don't know why. But let me just say this. Like I said, it's gonna be just a quick live. I just hate that, that these kind of things happen, that it shouldn't happen, it's like, what we gonna do? What is it there for us to do? What can we do? What can we do about things like this? You think that it's Black History Month? You think that like this would be going on right now? You would be thinking that, that how can this be happening with, with what's going on? Me, myself, I really don't understand how this could happen when she deposited her money and she said they had 8 cameras around, you know what I'm saying? And that she surely was seen putting her money in there, and didn't nobody put, and the husband simply stated that didn't nobody put that amount of money in their account, how they put it in there in sequence of the dollar bills.
How y'all doing? First thing I want to say is, how could a bank hire somebody that's wicked like that?
But they hired it all.
You got people inside of that organization. If you notice, the woman said a statement to her about, you don't know what bureaucrats is?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was speaking evil right there.
Yeah.
Them are people that manipulate the economy.
Oh, wow.
You know, it was much deeper than just her. And then once they realized they was in violation, they went up in the cover-up mode.
Dang. But seemed like everybody was into it. I mean, the customer service people, the manager, they always right there. They always right there. They always right there in the same building. So they let me think that the whole business is corrupted at that bank. Well, I tell you what, I would not be going to Florida this year. I had made plans to go to Florida for vacation around June or July to Miami, and I would not be giving Florida any of my money, Kurt.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to put in there, I seen 4 violations right there. The first one was the violation of due process. That ain't even how due process of even dealing with a situation with law enforcement in the first place.
Right.
That was already discrimination against her out from the jump on the due process.
Mm-hmm.
You got false imprisonment. She was locked up she didn't do nothing wrong. That's false imprisonment right there. Then you also the situation when she was incarcerated, you got cruel and unusual punishment. That's an 8th Amendment violation right there.
Dang.
And then the fact that she's a female prisoner, female prisoners have way more privacy than male prisoners. She was given no privacy, so that's gonna be also included in the lawsuit. Also,
yeah, they mentioned
so
that
they're gonna break them people down.
And they mentioned that what looking at her, sitting there looking at her, you punk.
So
well, I don't mean like that, but you know,
right there.
That's something that a punk man would do. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know, ain't got no remorse and respectful. Ain't respectful. That just.
I don't know how I would act if it was my mother. I'm just saying.
Man, but I know that her grandkids and kids are on her side, and her husband got her 100%. And look like Mr. Crawford's on 100% too, because that is pitiful. And that lady, she was so beautiful. Oh, she was a beautiful elderly lady. And y'all know I love the elders, you know, and she was a beautiful lady. She had a pretty hair, pretty wavy hair. You know, husband is a veteran, you know what I'm saying? And he spoke very highly. And it kind of touched my heart a little bit when I seen where he touched her on her shoulder back there. Let her know, baby, it's going to be okay. And what's so bad about it, she know her husband touched because she never turned around and looked. Right. She didn't never turn around and look. And the reason why you say, well, why Perk bring this out? Because it's our Black History Month. Right. And these things going on really, really bad during our month supposed to be given to us. But as Perp say, Black History is our month every month. And as Perp say, I am Black History. I am power. And when you push power, power push back. And let me just say that I am doing a back to school drive for school supplies for the young adults, young prince and princesses. I will be also be out feeding the homeless, the unfortunate, the homeless, you know, up on Perp, you know, just hanging out. You can cash app in donation like cash app too for the school supply to $ Vino, capital V, Eno Entertainment TV. And as you know, we are always out in the community doing food work, having fun, interacting with the community. Just being us, you know. There's never nobody that Perp meets is a stranger. And let me just say that I want to say rest in peace to Tyree Nichols, you know. As, you know, the first day of Black History, they had his homegoing. The first day of Black History, they had his homegoing, you know. And I just want to say that, you know, I feel every mother's pain, you know. I'm there with you. And if I could, I'd be there and it's taking me a plane to the same city and state to be there with you to fight those fights. But unfortunately, Perp is not able to do that. But I can voice my opinion here to make some kind of difference. Anything you want to say, Perp, before we get up out of here?
I just like everybody just to contemplate on this and just reflect on this. Just think if that was your mother, or your mother was violated just because she was trying to pay her bills.
Amen.
Then y'all get evicted because of a system that's so broken that they don't feel like they could fix nothing.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Well, let me just say that Perp will be giving out, be doing a drawing when she gets her first 300 subscribers. And you have to be in my chat to order to get those winnings as well. But let me just throw this out here. You know, like I said, it's Black History. And Perp gonna throw a little Black History out there every now and then. John Lee Love. You know, he made the portable pencil sharpeners. And they was very handy in school when I was growing up in the 60s. The portable pencil sharpeners. George Crumb. Now, George Crumb made something that we do every day. Majority of people do eat chips. He made the potato chips. Frederick Jones. You know, he's that man to keep everybody food cool in refrigerators, and he made the thermostat, you know, and the cooling system in the warehouses and things of that sort. And on your car refrigeration. That's right. Garrett Marcel. He made the traffic light. That's why we always at the traffic light. You know what I'm saying? He made that traffic light. Shirley Ann Jackson. This lady here was an outstanding lady. And kudos to Miss Jackson. She made the touch tone cell phones. Caller ID. Call waiting. Portable fax. Fiber optic cable. Look here. That was a smart lady. Marie Van Bryn Brown. She made the security system. The security system. These are smart people. These are people that are now getting some of their recognition. You know. These are people who never was recognized for what they did when they was back in the day when they was inventing things and make things work, because they didn't like how things was working then, so they won't do something to make it better for them and easier to use, you know. But we as brown people, we are very talented people, and running track and field is not the only talent that we got. We got a lot more track and we got a lot more talent that people don't even really realize, you know.
We got to also understand that skin color shouldn't matter when you're banking.
It shouldn't. Your money is money.
The money is all the same color.
Right. And she was a school teacher.
Huh.
And she said she'd been banking with that bank for almost 50 daggum years. 50 years. Man, that's a long time.
With the Retired Educators Association.
And they finance her house, her truck, she said. Now, how can you do that? We got to do better, y'all. How long are we going to live in this world? We have paid for this. Our ancestors paid for this, paid for things like this already. Yep. Being abused, beaten, demise. They paid for that already. They paid for that. So, and they fought for that for their kids, and their kids fought for that for their kids, and their kids. It's a generation thing. That's why I call it generation. That's why it's called a generation. That's why you be seeing 3 generations on TikTok, on YouTube, mom, grandma, and daughter. You know, I seen one with mom, grandma, daughter, and daughter. I'm like, well, dang, she about 4 or 5 generations. A blessing. And I'm glad that this young lady, kids, hung in there and guided her the right way. But she got Mr. Crump now. He gonna take care of business. Not business, but business. most definitely. But on that note, y'all know what Perp say. How in the hell? I don't hear you. Somebody can't finish that statement. You might want to learn that. It may be one of the quiz or in there to get that drawing that I'm going to be giving out. You know, on that note, y'all, Perp say, how the hell you going to love somebody when